Hero and Flaunderies return to the center stage of the metagame. A big 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Today we're going to be looking at the Winnipeg regional here. And this is the kind of breakdown that you really want to see out here in terms of these competitive events, where you see so much diversity being present, even if it's a smaller regional. I think that that's quite impressive. Now, we also had one Cashier in talk. I mean, you're used to seeing that deck. What actually surprised me most about this regional was the fact that it was won by Eldritch Branded, of all things. When we get a chance to take a look at the list here in a second, you'll have a little bit of an idea of what's going on here. We also had a Sprite deck in Top Cut. I mean, that's another mainstay contender from, last format into this one. Whether or not it be the Adventure package, the Evil Twin package, it's still doing its thing here. We also had Dragon Link, which Duelists did not want to share that list. They ended up finishing third place, unfortunately. We also had Sword Soul. The more we get into the creativity lines of Sword Soul, especially, some of the Apple Dragon builds, it's very interesting, but this one's going to be old reliable, where you're going to play a lot of the old standard stuff. We also had Labyrinth in the Top Cut. Labyrinth's been making some pretty big rounds out here. We saw out of what was Swish Nationals out here that the deck actually kind of stepped back in to the center stage here, and really, I think took some people by storm. We also had Flaunderies out here in Top Cut. I'm so happy to see Flaunder actually doing something out here. It has been 150 years since I've seen Flaunder take to the center stage, and that really made me happy. And then, of course, we had Hero as well. And I will tell you, out of everything that's present in this Top Cut, so many good, cool rogue decks. Let's pass on over to Top Cut. Winning our event here is our branded Eldritch list. And yeah, we are playing 2 copies of Golden Lord, which is perfectly fine. You do see the one Quem here. We are playing a pretty extensive Bysteel package here. I'm actually pretty sure that this Duelist is one to be able to cover as much ground as humanly possible, and, run out as many matchups as possible, because, we are playing the Billion. Interesting enough, we're not playing Saranir in this build, which kind of feels a little bit off, but we focused more on this. We are playing the Etude of the Branded. There's a lot of things going on with this build that opens up some interesting doors for, the creativity side of the format here. And I think you can really blame this card for being some of the major success that you see out here for a deck like this. You gotta love the fact that Skill Drain is just a big, no fun allowed for the format. So good stuff for seeing this take down first place. I genuinely am pretty impressed overall with that. Next up here, we have our Sprite list. Wow, Sprite Adventure took down second place. Sprite Adventure, what was it, coming out of the Santa Clara Regional 2, making it into 8th place. We've seen this deck kind of re-emerging here, because, the Water Enchantress package is the hard carry for this deck. It gives this deck the chance to be able to capitalize, set up, that very important negate, Mr. Griffin Rider, and of course you can actually kind of cheese your opponent a little bit here with the Nightmare Corrupt Ridley. We are doing Bysteel shenanigans, with just 2 Magna Hut, 1 Baldric. I see that we are citing the Jizakuru, the Destroying Star Kaiju, as well. Okay. Honestly, outside of that, this would be another one of what I would consider old reliable here, where you're able to kind of fire up, what we've already had given to us at this stage and have it be successful out here for the chance to actually be able to play in the metagame. So, good stuff. I actually hope that, we'll see something else come with this. I hope Sprite can evolve. Next up is our Hero list. Wow, Hero making 4th place out here. The first thing you're going to see here is, yeah, we are relying on Crossout Designator in order for the chance to, play the game. I still think that this deck loses to Nibiru. Ending on the Nibiru token is like the major cop-out and the biggest crap that people give to hero players, but, this build did get the chance to be successful out here, even if it is, really, really standard on paper. Also, DP is still a busted card. It's just unfortunate that, it's been literally forced back into just strictly heroes at this stage. We are playing Droll and Lockbird. I do like the 2-2 spread that we got going on amount of hand traps here. That's why, like, I emphasize, like, the 2 of Droll here. You are also covering your bases for cross-out targets so that you can, you know, get the best maximum value out of things. But outside of that, deck feels still, as long as you don't lose to Nibiru, which it's not walking around in the format right now, you'll be fine. Next up here is our cash money dollar bills, the deck. First thing I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, that Dimension Shifter Droll and Lockbird combination is here. This build is opting not to play Gamma, though, I mean, at this stage, we're massively familiar with how well Gamma has been showing up out here, you know, is a major detour. I will say that the Prosperity Desires, it's been, I've seen a couple of builds that have done this, but this has not been a particular major thing. I feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like you're kind of bulking down a little bit too hard on this, but it has worked in the past. I think it will continue to work. I mean, you kind of lose, like, the chance to play Thrust and things like that, which is fine. I mean, like, you still have access to one talent, you can board into the other anyway. It just kind of depends on, you know, how you think your rest of your matchups are going to go, and hand trap placement and so forth. Next up here, we have our Flunderies deck. Now, my favorite part about this, and this is like the meme of the deck, this duelist took their purely extra deck and said, you know what, screw it. Today, I'm a Flunderies main, and that's exactly what we got going here. Now, the first thing you're going to notice here is we are playing Morganite. Honestly, the additional normal summon, it might not look like it matters all that much, because it doesn't all the time. I mean, it does come up, but not all the time. The thing you care about here most is the draw 2. And I, quite honestly, I mean, especially when you're deck thinning as much as this deck is, you know, you set up, you go ahead and do your normal summons, your opponent has an interruption. You know, if they ash your bird and, you know, cut you off, you get the additional normal from this. That actually does put you back in the race. And that's where you see something like, you know, the ability to search for, you know, or the ability to draw the Featherstorm here. Can't say search. The ability to actually, you know, see this card will win you games. We are back at the point now that we have to rely on generic good Floodgate in order to have Flunderies play the game. I know a lot of people aren't going to be too happy to hear that, but that's just kind of the era of things that, you know, Flaunder has been forced back into at this stage. So, all things considered, I'm extremely happy to see that the new iterations of cards are actually finding their way into this deck, and that players are trying these new ideas. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh's about. Next up here we have, oh, hey Labyrinth. I see that we are playing Ariana as a 3-of. We got triple copies of Droll and Lockbird, and we're only playing 2 copies of Lady Labyrinth. Well, that's kind of interesting. We still are playing 1 copy of Lovely Labyrinth with your 1 copy of Labyrinth, which is fine. We are focusing on 2 copies of Chaos Angel, which is fine. I mean, you have toggle options here to make sure that you can get to the cards that you need. We're still main decking the Eradicator Epidemic Virus to allow, you know, the essential blowout against the opponent if it comes up. Skill drains for defensive options. Yeah. Rest of the deck feels, what I would say, pretty standard at this stage. You do get a little bit of creativity out here with Labyrinth. It mainly comes down to your trap spread board here, and what's going to probably get you the best possible results out here, per se. Next up here we have our, this is by far what I mean by the definition of cookie cutter Sword Soul. We just recently saw an Apple Dragon build be successful, but this build kind of breaks a little bit of that norm here, you know, of the Apple Dragon impending change, where you're like, okay, well, you know, we can still fire up 8th place here. We can still go ahead and play Old Reliable here, do our thing. I mean, the most exciting things here, I mean, we got 2 talents in the main deck. We are citing some anti-spells, some dimensional barriers, and some evenlies for the chance to, you know, go second and kind of capitalize on, you know, playing the game in other ways. But it's nothing too crazy. Wraps up your Winnipeg regional breakdown for you guys. What do you guys think about everything that's kind of coming into the spotlight here? Because I think there's a lot of interesting little things to really have out here. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.